You're watching Cricket World TV. Welcome to our first World Cup 2015 hotspot with me, John Pennington in England, and Chetan Narula in New Zealand. Hello, Chetan.
Hi, John. Welcome to all our viewers. As you said, in the first hotspot for the 2015 ODI World Cup. But you got a little bit wrong there. I'm in Melbourne today. Had flown over from Christchurch ahead of the first game. That's Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, you can make it out perhaps. Got a 6 a.m. flight, didn't sleep last night, bit jet lagged, even forgot to shave. So yeah, but the opening ceremony was good here in Melbourne.
Absolutely right. Well, we started there as we don't mean to go on. We'll hopefully get a few more things right over the tournament. For our preview show, what we're going to do, we're going to split the show into little segments, if you like. We're going to pick out 5 teams to watch. We're going to pick an outsider to watch, maybe one of the qualifiers or one of the lesser-ranked nations. 5 players to watch and 5 matches not to miss. So, Chetan, let's start then with 5 teams to watch. I don't know if you want to sort of pick one first, and then we'll see if our choices sort of corroborate, if you like. So you can go first.
Well, 5 teams to watch. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, you have Australia, New Zealand, both of them co-hosts. The World Cup is always a tournament where the hosts are considered to be strong. They are favorites to win. So obviously, these 2 teams in Australia have a brilliant bowling attack. New Zealand, they have been in sensational form. So nobody's got a bet against these teams. Then obviously you have India, defending champions. They have been a bit off color, but they tend to kick on in these big tournaments. So they're always big name, always a big name in a World Cup, be it T20 or an ODI World Cup. So always a big name, always a team to watch out for. South Africa, perennial favorites, and if there's a 5th team that I have to pick, Sri Lanka people would want to pick. But I would go with Pakistan because, the sun gets up in the morning, sets in the evening. Pakistan, unpredictable. You can never rule them out. It's like Pakistan or the popcorn. So yeah, 5 teams. That's for me.
Interesting, very similar to mine. I have actually put Sri Lanka in my teams to watch. I just think they've got such a good record in World Cups. It's sort of a big farewell for Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Javadina. If they turn it on, they could do well. And as a bit of a fun choice, Justin, I think England will be a team to watch, and I think you'll agree with me here because in the last World Cup, if you remember, covered a lot of England games, and they were the team to watch because they had the time of the year, they had the defeat to Ireland, they had a couple of other fantastic games. So in terms of entertainment, I'm sort of throwing England in there maybe to spring a few surprises as well.
Absolutely, England didn't spring to my mind because off late. I mean, keep the fact the Tri-Series aside, off late they were not a very good ODI side, but it's just that the conditions here in Australia and New Zealand, the 2 new balls, Steve Finn, James Anderson, Stuart Broad doing well. Chris Wokes, obviously, I mean, brilliant bowler. So I think they are a decent side, but they do not creep into my top 5.
Fair enough. Okay, well let's move on to some of the outsiders. Then maybe one of the lower ranked teams from each group to pick out that you think would be worth watching and maybe could pull off an upset or 2. Which ones are you going for?
Well, I'll start with the group that India is in, Pool B. You have Zimbabwe and Ireland in there, and UAE as well. I'm not sure UAE are gonna do as much, but my money is on Ireland. Or Zimbabwe to cause an upset. I think West Indies are in such a bad shape at the moment. It will be a massive surprise if West Indies reach the quarterfinals. I don't expect West Indies to make the quarterfinals given the shape they have, given the run they've had. So basically, it's down to Ireland and Zimbabwe to pick. You basically. I think Zimbabwe have done well. They beat Sri Lanka in the warm-up games. But I think as an all-round team, Ireland are better placed given the conditions here and given how they performed against England as well. So Ireland are better placed to perhaps beat West Indies. My team to look out from Pool B, Ireland. From Pool A, well, you have Scotland. They did well. They pushed the West Indies as well. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, went down first.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but my favorite would be Afghanistan. There's something about them. It's just something about them. Given the strife they have in their country, for them to come onto this world stage, the last time I saw Afghanistan play was 2012 World T20, and I instantly fell in love with that team. So yeah, my choice. They might not do as well, but I obviously will be following their tournament with keen interest.
Yeah, I'm glad you said Afghanistan, if you said, because I would certainly watch them as well. It's a wonderful story how they've risen from World Cricket League in 2008 right now to being right up there with the very best in the world, and they have beaten Bangladesh before, of course, in both ODIs and 2020 cricket. So that's one of my games to watch. Maybe we'll come on to that a little bit later. I think you're spot on with Ireland and Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe seem to be reasonably impressive under Dad Watmore. Obviously, beating Sri Lanka will give them a huge boost as they go into the tournament as well. What about then 5 players to watch? I'd be interested to see who you've got on your list and see if it comes close to mine. Do you want to maybe if you pick a 2 and then you pick 2, I'll pick 2, and then we'll see who we are.
Yeah. Okay. If I have to pick my first 2 players, I'll pick from the co-hosts. I'll pick David Warner because he's been an excellent touch. Not Steve Smith. You know, he's in good form, but he's also played the Indian bowling. Anybody who plays the Indian bowling has, he's bound to score 400s in 4 Test matches. Um, but Dave Warner, leave aside that he's a flammable batsman and everything. But I think he's done well, leaps and bounds over the last couple of years, especially as an opener in all formats of the game for Australia. In that particular sense, as an opener with 2 new balls, you uh, with on the batting track, he'll have a role to play for Australia. So yeah, David Warner, one of my favorites. It's tough not to pick Brendan McCullum because of the kind of form he's in, but Kane Williamson. I was there in last February in New Zealand, and Kane Williamson was a batsman to watch out for. And he was talking at that time about how he wants to develop himself into a batsman for all formats. He was doing well in Test cricket, but he wanted to do well in ODI cricket and T20 cricket as well. And just look at the difference he's made in 1 year. He's one of the top 5 batsmen in the world at the moment, and certainly one of my players to watch out for. Your 2.
Yeah, I can't argue with those, Chet, and I actually had Kane Williamson written down as mine as well. I'm going to go with Mitchell Johnson, but I have some bowling in there. He's come back. I think Australia's strategy of resting him for certain games has proven a very good choice, and he's going to lead that attack. And the absence of James Faulkner for the first time, he's got to play a leading role. And I think he will. And it's maybe an obvious choice, but I'm going to go for AB de Villiers as well, coming into the tournament on the back of stupendous form, that 31-ball century, but also other innings as well. And I think he's scored 3 or 4 centuries in all formats the last sort of 10 innings or so off the top of my head. So we've got AB de Villiers and Mitchell Johnson for me. So you can pick the final player, whether you want to go for an all-rounder or a wicket-keeper, whether you have one in your team or do something a bit different.
Oh, I thought we were going to pick 5 each, but yeah, I mean,
let's go. Let's go for it. See what we've got.
Okay. So basically, you've got 3. You've got AB de Villiers, Mitchell Johnson, and Kane Williamson in your list. So I'm not surprised that you've got Mitchell Johnson because he has a good thing in England going. I've been trying to. I mean, I'm not sure if you've heard about that poster that's all over in Australia or Melbourne. The hashtag missing balls. I've searched. I've just arrived today. I've been very knackered. I've tried to search for it. I've asked all around. I'm pretty sure I can locate one tomorrow, and when I do, I will be tweeting that on the Cricket World missing ball. I mean, that's brilliant banter. So yeah, obviously AB de Villiers on my list as well. That 31-ball 100. I missed that 100. I was doing the India-Australia game here in Melbourne, but I saw the highlights of that game, and obviously it was a highlight reel because 31 balls, but there was no lucky stroke, no missed time stroke in that innings. That was pure power, pure belligerence. AB de Villiers, the best batsman in the world at the moment. Definitely a player to watch out for. Obviously, number 2, I would say, is Virat Kohli at the moment. So he's a player to watch out for as well. But my number 5, well, I think I would go in with a bowler and somebody who I think when I was in South Africa last time around, I saw somebody take wickets by sheer will. Dale Steyn was not in very good form, but he took wickets by sheer willpower. So he's always a delight to watch, Dale Steyn. So these are my 5 players. I think South Africa, if they can, just make sure that they don't choke, they have the players, they have the team to go the distance. everybody would want them to go to this thing. So I think Dale Steyn, I'm not sure if he will play another World Cup. So yeah, rambling on again. So your two players.
Good stuff. Yes, and I think I'm going to add. I've kind of got to go for an Englishman, haven't I? I feel I have to. I'm going to go with Chris Woakes. You mentioned him earlier in the show. He's had some fantastic form in the run up to the tournament. I think he seems to have developed better when Stuart Broad and James Anderson have come into the team. Maybe he's not quite the leader of the attack, but he seems to have found his role as a sort of backup to those bowlers and is performing very well. Can bat, good in the field, obviously very talented with the ball as well. And my other player, I'm going to go for Tilakaratne Dilshan. He's another player who's coming into the tournament in some very, very strong form, particularly against New Zealand and then obviously against England a few months ago. So my five: Kane Williamson, Tilakaratne Dilshan, Chris Woakes, Mitchell Johnson, and AB de Villiers. It'll be interesting to see how they all go as the tournament goes on. Make a reasonable team out of that, I think, Chetan. AB de Villiers could keep wicket, couldn't he? Maybe a bit batsman heavy, but we'll see. What about five games not to miss? I mean, you're going to be going to quite a few games, but if you could sum up, those are the five that I absolutely have to go to. Which five would you go for?
Well, I picked a few matches based on that. Obviously, India, Pakistan, you can never miss the tension, never miss the environment, especially in a World Cup game. So that's obviously the top of anybody's list. India, Pakistan.
Mine too.
This Sunday. Sorry.
Yeah, top of my list too.
Yeah, absolutely. So this Sunday, obviously, I'll be attending Australia, England before that, but it's a game that you can afford to miss because they've been playing each other so many times. But India, Pakistan, a rarity nowadays. But obviously, in the context of the World Cup, Pakistan have never beaten India. This time, I think both teams starting equal. Both teams have equal chance. They haven't had a good run of form recently. So, yeah, Pakistan's best shot in a long time to beat India at the World Cup. So, definitely not at all a game to be missed. Apart from that, I think there are two games that stand out for me in the league stage, John. One is Australia, New Zealand in Auckland. And again in Auckland, you have South Africa, Pakistan. Now and I'm attending both these games. And the reason I'm attending both these games because the Eden Park at Auckland is like this small, this small. Yeah, you can just yeah, it's like very small. And you're talking about power hitters in Australia. You're talking about power hitters in New Zealand. You're looking at the 350 score and you're looking at a 350 run chase. And similarly, against South Africa and Pakistan, we saw what AB de Villiers did of 31 balls. Shahid Afridi will want that record back, and he can do it on this particular ground because, on normal grounds, he goes for a six, he gets caught in the deep. On that ground, if he goes for a six, it will go for a six. It's a very, very small ground. It's ridiculously small ground for a cricket match. So these two matches, apart from that, I think we have some interesting games in Group A with the Minnows. West Indies are not the Minnows, but they're playing Ireland on the 16th, and I think that's a game. Whoever wins that game is going to the quarterfinals, and obviously Ireland, Zimbabwe also becomes important from that point of view. So these are five matches for me, which are not to be missed. I had another match in mind, which was England versus Bangladesh, until Alistair Cook was captain. I thought, Bangladesh were in with a shot. They could beat England because they were playing very poor ODI cricket. So I thought Bangladesh had a shot, or maybe even Scotland. But, coming here with the new captaincy, England have begun well. They have in the last 2 years. So, yeah, I could miss that match.
Now, some good choices there, Chet, and I've actually got India, Pakistan, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, and West Indies on my list as well. I mentioned this one earlier. Afghanistan, Bangladesh for me is going to be absolutely fascinating. I think because Afghanistan have beaten Bangladesh a couple of times, that gives them a psychological edge, and they're almost quite evenly matched, and they will play a similar sort of style of cricket as well. So that game is for me going to be absolutely fascinating. And I'm going to show my bias again, I suppose. I'm going to go for England-Scotland as another game not to miss. We don't play each other maybe as often as we should, perhaps, and it's the first time that we've met in a World Cup. The Scots have still never won a one-day international game at a World Cup, so they'll be keen to to get off the mark this time, and you never know, it might just be close. England will hope, obviously, that it isn't. England will hope that it is, but Scotland, they are improving. I think they're improving quite quickly, and Paul Collingwood has quite a bit to do with that as well. They've recruited well on the coaching side of things, but I think that could be an interesting one to watch as well. So I mean, hopefully it's going to be a great tournament, and there'll be many exciting games, and we'll be covering it for you on Cricket World, and lots of hot spots with you, Chetan, as the tournament goes on. So just very quickly to find out, so really where you're off to next, and any very quick reflections on some of the warm-up matches for me.
Well, I'm staying in Melbourne for the next couple of days. We'll be doing the Australia-England opening match of the tournament here. So yeah, our viewers can look for more, match reports and insight into that particular game. And obviously after that, I'm heading to Adelaide for the India-Pakistan match, and then after that, I mean, obviously we'll have another hotspot in between. But yes, off to one of the must-watch games, Afghanistan, Bangladesh in Canberra. So these are the first 3 matches that I'm doing in this World Cup, and obviously our viewers can expect lots more info and insight over the next 6 weeks from Cricket World. Talking about some warm-up games, I thought, India were looking a bit jaded. Pakistan did better, so they might be very interested in this coming up match. Australia looked very strong, and I thought the best part of the warm-ups were the minnows, who have done well, who have given a reason to hope that this World Cup will not be as one-sided. Everybody thinks that the quarterfinals are pre-decided. I don't think so. I'm not so sure. Maybe in Pool A, certainly not in Pool B, where West Indies look all over the place. And just final thoughts, John, very quickly. Your 4 semi-finalists.
My 4 semi-finalists. They put me on the spot. Nice one. Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and Sri Lanka. I'm going to go Sri Lanka, which I realise means no India, no Pakistan, and no England. So what about you?
Well, I think India, in the prediction also, I said India will be very lucky to reach the semi-finals. Similar to Pakistan, I don't think these two are, that good sides to reach the semi-finals. I think 3 of our sides match Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, definitely in the semi-finals. The 4th team, I would have gone with Sri Lanka as well, but just to go a bit different, let me put England in there.
Good stuff. Well, Chetan,
surprisingly,
yeah, indeed.
I don't rate that well, but yeah.
We wouldn't have predicted that a few months ago. Chetan, it's been an absolute pleasure as ever, and we'll let you get off and get some rest ahead of the opening game in a few hours' time. Thank you very much for your time today.
Absolute pleasure, John, always.
And thank you very much for watching us here on Cricket World, and do join us again soon. We're really looking forward to the World Cup. Hope you'll enjoy it with us here.